and aspirations of our fellow creatures. Instead of as grammatical treadmills, there is another reason why the public school system of teaching languages commonly fails to impart much useful knowledge of them. When any intelligent being who is a free agent wishes to obtain an efficient knowledge of a foreign language as quickly as possible, how does he proceed? He begins with an easy text and first obtains the general sense of each sentence and the meaning of each particular word from his teacher. In default of a teacher, he falls back on the best available substitute, namely a good translation and a dictionary. Looking out words in a dictionary is, however, mere waste of time if their meaning can be ascertained in any other way, so that he will use this means only when compelled to do so. Having ascertained the meaning of each word, he will note it down either in the margin of the book or elsewhere, so that he may not have to ask it or look it out again. Then he will read the passage which he has thus studied over and over again, if possible aloud, so that tongue, ear, and mind may be simultaneously familiarized with the new instrument of thought and communication of which he desires to possess himself, until he perfectly understands the meaning without mentally translating it into English, and until the foreign words, no longer strange, evoke in his mind not their English equivalents, but the ideas which they connote. This is the proper way to learn a language, and it is opposed at almost every point to the public school method, which regards the use of cribs as a deadly sin, and substitutes parsing and construing for reading and understanding. Notwithstanding all this, I am well aware that the advocates of this method have in their armoury another and more potent argument. A boy does not go to school, say they, to learn Latin and Greek, but to learn to confront disagreeable duties with equanimity, and to do what is distasteful to him with cheerfulness. To this I have nothing to say. It is unanswerable and final. If boys are sent to school to learn what the word disagreeable means, and to realize that the most acute misery and that the most assiduous labour, if it be not wisely directed, does not necessarily secure the attainment of the object ostensibly aimed at, then indeed does the public school offer the surest means of attaining this end. The most wretched day of my life, except the day when I left college, was the day I went to school. During the earlier portion of my school life, I believe that I nearly fathomed the possibilities of human misery and despair. I learned then, what I am thankful to say I have unlearned since, to be a pessimist, a misanthrope, and a cynic. And I have learned since, what I did not understand then, that to know by rote a quantity of grammatical rules is in itself not much more useful than to know how often each letter of the alphabet occurs in Paradise Lost, or how many separate stones went to the building of the Great Pyramid. Many of my readers, even of those who may be inclined to agree with me as to the desirability of modifying the teaching of our public schools, will blame me for expressing myself so strongly. The value of a public school education in the development of character cannot be denied, and in the teaching also great improvements have, I believe, been made within the last 10 or 15 years. But as far as my own experience goes, I do not feel that I have spoken at all too strongly. End of How to Learn a Foreign Language by Edward Granville Brown. Recording by Nicholas James Bridgewater. Recorded in London, England.